Hello, friends, and welcome. I'm Cassidy Carson, and this is The Life of a Writer. Today is February 18th, 2026. It is a Wednesday, and as you can see behind me, there's a bit of a glare because it is very snowy outside. It snowed all day yesterday. I think it started around 7 a.m. and went until maybe midnight. So we got over a foot of snow. JT and I went out and shoveled this morning. It took about 40 minutes or so. We didn't even clear all of the snow. We just made a path from our front door out to the sidewalk because that way the mail carrier can get to our mailbox. But it's pretty deep. And it is flurrying outside right now. So if anyone has been watching social media, you've probably seen all the posts of the snowstorm that affected the Sierra Nevada in the northern portion between Reno and San Francisco, Sacramento, and Donner Pass was shut down at a few points because people don't always show the most common sense when they're driving in weather like that, and there can be a lot of spinouts and pileups. So if you are in the area and you are snowed in right now, please be careful. I know the schools and I think the schools are shut down for another day, so it's 2 days in a row of snow days. And then I believe the university and local colleges had a 2-hour delay, and so did state government. So people are out and about a little more than they were yesterday, but it's still treacherous driving, so be careful. They did plow our street because we live near the sheriff's office, and it looks like a sheet of ice. I would not want to be driving out there today. So thankfully, as a retiree, I don't have to go anywhere. Oh, and I'm a little tired from this morning's workout, but I'm going to stick to my schedule. Need to get some writing done again today. I did finish rewriting chapter 5 of Restless Spirits book 2 yesterday. It was a bit of a slog, and then I'm going to continue revising the book and hopefully get it to my editors before the end of the month. We'll see how that goes because things keep coming up like snowstorms and we have to shovel ourselves out. Anyway, today's discussion is going to be a fun one, I think. I was trying to do a little research, but it's hard to find details online, and with everything else going on, I'm not going to go too deeply into finding out what particular year this happened. But I wanted to talk a little bit about what I think is a one-of-a-kind item, because I don't know that anybody else thought to do this at the time. So I've mentioned in the past that I was the volunteer coordinator for the Reno Film Festival. Now, that's where research has been problematic because the Reno Film Festival happened in the early 2000s, the aughts, you might say. And there's not currently a lot of information online about it because we were still at the point where the internet was there, but it wasn't used in quite the same way as it is now. And not a lot of the items I was looking for are easily accessible. They may be archived through the Internet Archive and the Wayback Machine, but I didn't want to take the time to do that. So at some point, I'll probably look up a little more detail about when these events actually occurred. But for now, I just wanted to talk about one year. I don't remember which one. I believe I was volunteer coordinator at the time, or I was a volunteer at the time, one of the two. I might not have been coordinator yet. But that year, the Reno Film Festival was showing what was one of my favorite movies at the time, Lethal Weapon. I was a huge Lethal Weapon fan in the 1980s. I saw I think there were 4 Lethal Weapon movies eventually. And I think it's a toss-up between whether the first or second movies were my favorite, but really enjoyed those movies. And I was excited that the Reno Film Festival was going to show the movie, but they also invited Shane Black, who, if anybody knows about Lethal Weapon or knows about Shane Black, he is the one who created Lethal Weapon and wrote the screenplay, I believe. So again, my memory is not 100%. I'll need to do a little digging to make sure I'm remembering things correctly, but I It's funny. I took my kids along with me, not all of them at the same time, but some of them would come with me on occasion when I was doing events with the Reno Film Festival. And the event, I believe it was a discussion with Shane Black or something, or he introduced Lethal Weapon, one of the two. And my kids were laughing because they kept saying that I had a crush on him. And at the time I kept saying, no, 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 that's not true. Now that I think about it, I do think I had a crush on him, but not in a romantic sense. I think I was envious of his career because I had been trying to write screenplays and television scripts and things like that. And it was, the fact that he had written a movie that I admired so much and that was so popular, I wanted to learn more about how he did it, how he broke in. And so I remember sitting on the steps in the theater where the movie was shown after everybody had left, and we were just chatting. And he chatted with me for quite a while. He was very nice. And one of the things that I did this is where the one of a kind, I think, comes in, is the fact that I got a ticket from that showing of Lethal Weapon at the Reno Film Festival, and I had him autograph it for me. So here's the ticket, if you can see that. It was shown on November 3rd, whatever year that was, at 12:30 at the Century Riverside Theater in Reno, and it is autographed by Shane Black right here. It says, "Liz, thanks for everything, Shane Black." I've mentioned my real name is Liz. And so as far as I'm aware, this may be a one-of-a-kind item. It's an autographed Lethal Weapon movie ticket from the Reno Film Festival that Shane Black signed. So, and that was just one of many wonderful experiences I had working with the Reno Film Festival. I remember bits and pieces of things. I don't have a lot of clear memories because at this point, it's close to a quarter of a century ago, and I cannot believe how quickly that time has passed. I would not have been able to imagine sitting here talking to you on videos at that point because I don't even think I had a cell phone that took photos, or if I did, they weren't very good. And so I don't have a picture of myself with Shane Black, unfortunately. I have shown a photo previously of me holding an Oscar. It was Michael Szymanek's Oscar from Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. That was a photo that was professionally taken because they had a photographer come in, and Michael Szymanek very kindly brought his Oscar and allowed people to take photos with it throughout the course of the evening. I got my photo at the end of the evening after everything had been, they were basically packing up for the night. And I had been talking with Michael Szymanek, who's also a very nice guy. And I believe he may have actually been on like the advisory board for the Reno Film Festival at one point. But he was very kind and allowed me to take a moment with his Oscar. If I was smart, I would have had him in the photo as well, but he may have been talking to somebody else at the time. So Shane Black, Michael Szymanek. I remember meeting Marlee Matlin, who was a very sweet woman. I was very pleased to meet her. JT and I just rewatched the movie Serenity. It was a follow-up to the TV show Firefly with Nathan Fillion and others, Alan Tudyk and Ron Glass and everybody. And the movie itself, there is a character in that movie called Mr. Universe. It's played by David Krumholtz. And David Krumholtz was at the film festival one year. I met him. He was also a fun guy. One of my favorite film festival stories was the year we showed American Graffiti, and we had some of the cast there. It wasn't anybody like Ron Howard, but Cindy Williams was there. I believe Candy Clark, and there may have been one or two other people. Unfortunately, my memory is very hazy, but I do remember two specific moments that happened. Was one that I suggested we give one of our ball caps, Reno Film Festival ball caps, to Cindy Williams, and she enjoyed that. And also that I occasionally would let the volunteers go in to watch the showings after everybody had checked in, and I would man the desk in case there was anybody late showing up. So I was out there at the desk, and the actors had done their intro to American Graffiti and came back out. and somebody said something about me being the volunteer coordinator or whatever. Just a little throwaway mention, but it was funny because the cast actually applauded me, which really touched me because, I mean, how often do you have celebrity guests applaud you for something? So those are some of my memories of the Reno Film Festival. I had a lot of one-of-a-kind experiences while being the volunteer coordinator for that. It was a fun but very stressful volunteer opportunity for me. I was not paid. We were all volunteers, and it was, I don't remember what year the film festival folded. There is something now, I guess, in Reno called the Cordillera or the Cordillera Film Festival. That is, I don't know if it's an offshoot of the old Reno Film Festival, but it is something different. So I have not been involved in that one at all. The one I was involved with took place in the early 2000s, in the aughts. And I think I may have mentioned in the past that the reason I became involved was that I was working at the Nevada Commission on Tourism, and the commission was headed by Lieutenant Governor, who at that time was Lorraine Hunt. And Lorraine Hunt's assistant, actually, we had been chatting back and forth when we were working, and I mentioned how much I loved movies, and she said that I should just come and volunteer for the festival. So I thought, oh, sure, that would be fun. And, you know, I'm working full-time, have kids. My kids were teens at that point. I was going to college. I had a lot going on, and I had a lot more energy than I do now, but it was something that I felt I would really enjoy doing, and I did. And then I think the following year, when the film festival came around again, the assistant to the lieutenant governor had to step back. It might have been a year or two later. She stepped back and she had me take over as the volunteer coordinator. And some of the duties of being the volunteer coordinator were obviously to find enough people to man the various events that were happening during the festival. So I needed to have at least 2 people at the tables outside to take tickets. We would have people who would serve as ushers. We had people who did other volunteer things like helping to set up and tear down. And I would have spreadsheets of people and where, you know, their contact information, where they were going to be, what time they were going to be there, to make sure I had everything staffed fully for each event. And then, like I said, normally I would let the volunteers go in to experience the events, and I would sit outside and wait in case anything came up. So that was my kind of a brief overview of my time with the Reno Film Festival. I did it for maybe 3 or 4 years, I think. It was a lot of fun. I worked with a lot of great people who put a lot more time and effort into creating the film festival than I did. The other thing I did on top of the coordinating the volunteers was for at least 1 year, I was also in charge of handling the travel arrangements for the celebrity guests, which was wild. And most of the celebrities who showed up were very nice and very sweet, and didn't really have a lot of demands, but there were 1 or 2 where I remember some names in particular that I will not mention, but they were a little, I might say, full of themselves. And they didn't understand that our festival really did not have a lot of money to do things for them. I mean, we could basically get them to the festival and get them accommodations, and that was about it. I don't believe we ever gave anyone a fee for appearing or anything like that. So that was a bit stressful. And one other thing that happened during my time with the Reno Film Festival was I also ended up working as an extra on the movie The Cooler with Alec Baldwin and William H. Macy and Maria Bello. And I was in a couple of scenes with Alec Baldwin and William H. Macy. Some of the footage I did not appear in, but there is a place on the DVD where I'm looped in the menu, which was kind of fun. But the really cool thing about that and the Reno Film Festival is that I suggested, since the movie had been filmed in Reno, that we show it at the festival. So we did, and it was really fun because the audience was full of people like myself who were extras in the movie, and that was the first time that we saw it as people who had actually been in the movie. So sitting in a theater, watching myself on the big screen, along with a lot of other people who appeared with me, was also a one-of-a-kind experience. I don't know that many people get that opportunity. It was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it. So I hope you enjoyed this little trip down memory lane as I was talking about some of my one-of-a-kind moments with the Reno Film Festival, particularly my Shane Black ticket. I will pop a picture that shows it a little more clearly, the detail, because the poster that year was really cool, and I should be able to track it down at least based on the poster, but just fun times, and I cannot believe how much time has passed since I did that. I was a bit younger and more energetic, and I'm really feeling my age after being out shoveling that snow today. So sitting down here to chat with you for a few minutes has been very nice. I hope you enjoyed this little, like I said, stroll down memory lane, along with the stroll I did yesterday. I don't think, maybe one person has watched it or clicked on it. I'm really not sure how many people actually watch these videos through, if anyone does. I have gotten a couple of comments that were very nice, and I really appreciate them. I still only have 20-something followers on here, but I'm not giving up. I'm going to continue posting every day, and we'll see what happens throughout the year. So thank you again for joining me. I usually have started ending these videos with some questions, partially to see if anyone actually watches the video all the way through. So my question for today is, have you ever had a celebrity encounter? If you did, where and when? What were the circumstances? I'd be interested to know, because depending on where you live, you may not run into celebrities very often. And as someone who has actually worked with them, at least by being the volunteer coordinator for the film festival, with them in that sense, I've really learned that celebrities are a lot like the rest of us. We may put them on a pedestal, but they're people too. So have you met anyone, where and when? And, did you enjoy the encounter? Bonus points if you have photos, because I don't have any photos. I do have some from Supernatural conventions that I will show at a later time. But for right now, I think I'm going to end this video because I need to go make lunch and get back to work on my manuscript. I hope you're having a wonderful day and week so far, and I thank you for spending some time with me. I'm Cassidy Carson, and this is The Life of a Writer. Take care.